Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the National League. Welcome to another episode where the season is over for Arsenal, as per some people, even though Arsenal are still in they're gonna play the quarterfinal of the Champions League, actually, because they already won 7-1 against PSV. But Arsenal were dog shit yesterday. Arsenal were dog shit yesterday in the game, to be honest. Yes, they dominated position, but they were so bad. Liverpool are playing PSG tomorrow. A lot of people are saying that Liverpool will go through their different animal at Anfield. We'll talk about that as well. But Liverpool 20th league title, they're confirmed champions. We know that the title race is over. Mikel Arteta running away from a press conference or from the interview for some whatever reason. I don't know why. And Chelsea, they're back on track. They won against Southampton and Leicester. We're going to have David to talk about that as well in a bit. Chelsea rep is going to be joining us in a second, of course. And Man United, who have not learned anything from yesterday, unless people think otherwise. And let's start with the game yesterday, of course. So, how's everyone doing first?
Yeah, I'm all right. Not too bad.
Top of the league. We're just counting down the days until I'll get my guard of honour. I am getting my guard of honour from Arsenal as well, which is going to be beautiful.
I don't think you will. You only get the Guard of Honor the game after you've officially won it, right? Or is it every game?
You get it every game.
Yeah, that's problematic.
You know, maybe because Arsenal didn't win many titles this early on, it only felt like you only got it the game afterwards. But, you know, in my history, we win league titles with 7 games to go, so I got to watch every team give me one.
Fair.
Yeah. Guys, hit that like button on your way in, and if you're watching this on the replay, hit that like button. We have to start with the latest game of the week, which is Man United versus Arsenal. Lethargic, slow. Declan Rice had a good game. David Raya saved Arsenal. Arsenal should have done better, without a shadow of a doubt, yesterday. But the same problems happen. However, I have to say what I think about this. Again, Arsenal did not create a lot of chances, and you can't tell me that because Kai Havertz is not there and Saka, Arsenal cannot create a lot of chances. Odegaard have not created a lot of chances yesterday. And one of the things that Arsenal will face for the next season as well is low blocks. You'll have low blocks. Nobody's going to open up against Arsenal. And you're going to have to solve the problem. Is that what you think? That?
Yeah. But so one thing I'm slightly disagree with is chance creation. I didn't like. It's still a problem against low blocks. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Not as much as a problem as I think is being made out. The issue is, even if Kai Havertz had been there, maybe we still don't score. But so there were a couple of examples yesterday where two I can remember from Waneri, where he took it past Dalot down the right-hand side, put a good ball in off his right foot, and there was just no one making that run towards the front post to get on the end of it, because there's no one that has like that striker's instinct of getting to the ball first. So I think you bring in an actual striker, whether or not Havertz is that guy or not, I think that helps for starters. But generally speaking, I think like the problem is...
You know, the problem is Odegaard, though. For me, to be honest, Odegaard is moving towards to be an 8 rather than the number 10 that is creating. Like, it's either you kind of have a number 10 that is creating a lot of chances or a goal scoring 10. Like, you can have a Musiala kind of player or an Ozil kind of player, right? Odegaard is neither. Odegaard is just a deep line playmaker. You can say that he's involved in all the phases of the game.
Yeah, I do think he's far better when he's playing deeper and we've got space in behind. I think that's where he's at his absolute best. But I also look at yesterday and there's no one running ahead of him. There's no one making runs to try and draw defenders anywhere. And it's one thing that Saka does. It's probably a part of Saka's game that it doesn't normally actually get spoken about. But you'll notice it when he's back. The runs that Saka makes, where Odegaard finds him, we don't have anyone making those runs at the moment. And so he gets the ball. He'll get the ball in an area. And he looks ahead and it's like, well, there's a bank of 5 and a bank of 3 defensively from United. And there's no one moving. And so, like, he's not at his best anywhere near it at the moment. But I do just think, I don't know what else he's meant to do when no one ahead of him is providing any sort of movement. It's difficult.
I'm going to tell you what I actually think. You know what? I actually said something yesterday that I said that Odegaard is kind of similar to Phil Foden in terms of like they play well when the team is playing very well. When there are pieces around him that are helping them and playing well. And I just think that nowadays it's Odegaard, because the team is not playing well. He's not like shining. You know what I mean? Like he's not like carrying the team over his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like what Salah does. Even what Saka did in the beginning of the season when everyone was criticizing Arsenal, Saka was still putting in good performances.
Yeah. I know. I don't disagree with that.
I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. Like there is always someone else. Like I don't know if he's going to be the guy to carry Arsenal's midfield. Do you agree that Arsenal need a DM at some point? Or you're okay with playing pivot and Odegaard in front of them?
Well, no, I think in a game like yesterday, we didn't need Rice and Partey. I've said this for a long, long time. For me, you could, but the problem is, so for me yesterday, you play Rice as a 6, right? United's midfield had no legs whatsoever. You didn't need Rice and Partey. So you play Rice as the 6, and then you play Odegaard and another creator as the other 8. The issue is we don't really have that person. We still don't have that player in the squad. The only one that's meant to even come close is Marino, but then he's having to play up top at the moment. So, like yesterday, you could have maybe, I don't know, played Marino as the left 8 and then played Calafiori up top or something, but that's still a mental thing to be talking about.
Calafiori up top, no.
So, but then if we're looking at, if our biggest sort of target to bring into the midfield in the summer is Zubimendi, then that to me suggests that it's still going to be a double pivot or closer to it with Rice playing as an 8.
Do you believe you're going to bring Zubimendi?
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah. That deal seems like it's pretty much done.
Where did you read that? Where did you read this? Isn't that the January stuff?
Yeah,
January things.
At the end of January, it came out that deal's basically done. It's just happening in the summer.
Yeah, that was what it was. It was going to be done in the summer.
Yeah, and that was like Ornstein. But so that for me suggests that the plan in the midfield, but we at least need to have the option, because don't get me wrong, there are some games like a Zubimendi Rice pivot in big games will be brilliant, but there are lots of games where we don't need Rice as an 8, which is effectively what that would be.
I actually, to be honest with you, Rory, I actually think long term Rice should be your 6. And he should play 2 8s in front of them. One is Odegaard, and one is like a Nwaneri or one like a Verts or one like a Musiala. I don't like this. Rice is an 8 is not bad, but I actually think that the game yesterday proves that Rice. By the way, if he played as a 6, he would have scored the same goal. By the way, because he was moving to the right side, like that didn't change anything. Like he would have scored the same goal as a 6. By the way, right?
I agree.
I don't understand why Arteta keeps. I understand why, because Thomas Partey has been playing very well, like at the 6. So now, and he doesn't have a lot of players, so he has to play someone at the 8. But I think that long term he should be the 6 because Thomas Partey. And this is why I don't understand the Zubamendi move. Zubimendi is a 6. He's not an attacking midfield. And you can't tell me that you're gonna have Zubimendi and Declan Rice's depth. It just doesn't work.
No, you're not. So I don't know. But it's not even the biggest of our issues at the moment, to be honest. I still think the front 3 is the bigger issue.
And I wanted to ask something. I wanted to actually discuss something with you guys. Hit that like button, people, if you're here now. Come on now. Let's get to 100 likes at least. Your mods, please push the likes. I am starting to believe that Arteta is not a guy that will change his philosophy to actually win the league. Like to win the league, you need to change your philosophy sometimes. Because I was speaking to all.
He's just the way went the wrong way with it.
Let me explain to you.
No, but that's the point. He has changed his philosophy though, because Arsenal play differently now than they did 2 years ago. They play a lot more defensively. They play a lot more focusing on how can we stop the opposition rather than how can we beat the opposition more so.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost went too far the other way. That Arsenal team in 2022 was an Arsenal team that was so close to winning a league title. And yes, they got closer last season. But I was more scared of the Arsenal that was there 2 years ago because that Arsenal team could beat anyone. You're right.
You're right on what you're saying, yeah? But let me just tell you what I mean by this. The problem now is I'm seeing the way Arsenal attack, and I was speaking to Olo yesterday after the game, and he said, I am not going to sit another season where Arsenal, every time they try to attack, it's that 3 passes on the right side or one of the wingers just going towards the byline and whipping across in. I need to see different ways of attacking the opposition. And that is the problem. Like, he is so insisting. And that is reflective of how Odegaard always moves the ball to the right side, or Declan Rice moves the ball to the line to the left side. Like, they don't change the way they attack. It's just the same exact thing. Like, Arsenal have become a repeated, what is it called? There's a word for it. Like, I can't remember the word now. I just lost the word. But they repeat the same thing over and over again, thinking it's going to work. Well, we're going to go to the line. Even Martinelli coming on, he's trying to run to the line all the time, just cross, and there was nobody there.
Mm-hmm. No, I just think Arsenal went wrong when they went too far the other way with their mentality.
What do you mean too far the other way? Can someone really explain? Because Arsenal
Arsenal 2 years ago, Arsenal 2 years ago were very close to a league title, playing some very expansive attacking football, and they only lost out on that league title really because William Saliba got injured and Rob Holding came in. And Rob Holding meant that they couldn't hold the line as well, and they lost a bit of confidence in their play. That for me is when I look at that league title is where it went. Arteta looked at it and went, we conceded too many goals. So how do I make sure we stop conceding goals? So that was where he brought the DM in, and in my opinion, the play style went a little bit more pragmatic in nature, went a little bit more cautious in nature. And Arsenal became really good defensively. But Arsenal also became, A, quite predictable in attack, and B...
Arsenal are not defensive at all, by the way.
They have the best defense in the league for 2 years now.
I'll tell you, yeah, Tom's like mostly right. What it wasn't even about being frail defensively. It was about Arteta looked at the games where we were dropping points, and it was Villa's and Newcastle's, and it was and even City in that season, that 22-23 season, and he identified the problem of the squad being losing duels and not being at it physically. Like he determined that physicality and our lack of physicality was the biggest problem. And so then he went and got Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and then Mikel Merino and Calafiori. He moved away from players that he'd gone for previously. Even again, Jurriën Timber as another fullback that's really a centre-back. He moved away from signings like Fabio Vieira, and he moved towards these physical powerhouses, these massive duel winners.
Yeah.
And that has helped us defensively. That is why we are now better defensively, in part, is that we win far more duels, we're in far more control. The problem is that he sacrificed a lot of that sort of fluidity. And he sacrificed the players that would create. Zinchenko at left back as an example. We barely ever see it anymore because he used to get bullied. But he was someone that in that 22-23 season was a massive part of that kind of fluidity that we had. So he went too far that way. And especially, I think the summer where we got Havertz, Timber, Rice, I think it worked. To back that up the following summer with Merino and Calafiori, I love Calafiori. I think he's going to be a great signing. But Merino in particular, that was where it went a bit of a step too far. And now we don't have enough players that can actually create chances. It's also, like, part of it is also the way that teams set up against us. Like, in the 22-23 season, people weren't sitting in low block. First half of that season, we had far too much respect from teams. They weren't sitting deep. Now, the problem compounds itself where teams sit deep against us. We don't break them down. So that becomes the solution to getting a point or 3 points against Arsenal. So then everyone does it. So then
but everyone is going to do it next season, right? We all agree that everyone is going to do it next season as well.
This is the thing. It's the same as, like, you know, when like a keeper looks weak on corners if you put it on top of them. So then more teams start putting it on top of them. So then it makes it look like they're even, like, it snowballs like that.
Yes, exactly.
So we have to find a way, like that. We have to find a solution to beating those low blocks. And we have to convince teams that sitting in a low block is not the way to get something off Arsenal. But at the moment, we're not. And so this summer, for me, the important thing is going out and getting players that can break the game, either with their passing or by taking players on. And that's going to come from your left winger, probably another midfielder, and the striker. And I don't know if we're going to do that, but that's what we have to do.
And what if you don't do that?
Then we're going to struggle next season because everyone's going to continue playing the same way against us.
There is a blueprint for how to beat Arsenal at the minute.
There's no.
Well, at least get a draw.
Yeah, at least to frustrate them enough to put them off the game and then open up opportunities and avenues to score. I just think, look, this recent run is not how you judge Arsenal. To playing with Mikel Merino up top. I know that everyone's excited for a brief period. Like, oh my God, Mikel Merino. It's very easy to defend against a centre mid playing up front because they only have one move, which is go back to what works for them, which from Mikel Merino is back post runs for the cross. If you have centre backs who are competent in the air, which every team bar Leicester does, Mikel Merino won't do fuck all because he can't get into the game. The problem Arsenal have is that they didn't lose this league title off the last 4 games. They lost this league title on the fact that by December, Liverpool were 9 points clear. How did Liverpool get to 9 points clear in December? Well, you look at the games where they dropped points, the likes of Everton at home. The likes of, I think you drew to Fulham away, didn't you?
Yeah.
Brighton at home. The thing with Arsenal is it often seems like it's the same sort of opponents every year that beats them. Not beats them or gets results against them. Your West Hams, your Aston Villas, your Brightons, your Fulhams, etc. Which is why I think Arteta went to the physical side of it, because if you think about those teams, you're going, oh, they're a physical, that they dominate us physically. Like Rory said, they dominate us physically. Your likes of before with Villa, it was like Kamara and Onana would dominate you physically. With West Ham, it was when he was there, Rice and Souček, physical monsters in the midfield who would just bully your technical midfielders. But in going to counter that, ironically, those teams now have gone to the other side of it, which is they've now got more technically sound. So having these physical midfielders is arguably a negative against them because they have such technically sound footballers in their teams that they can pass around them. So it's gone both ways with Arsenal. I think they just need to go back to what they've done in the first season, which was where I thought they were best, which was play their own style of football, not try and beat teams by limiting teams, beat teams by beating teams.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen easily. That doesn't happen easily.
No, it doesn't. But one of the best examples for me is...
Go ahead.
So I'm fairly sure the last 2 times we beat Newcastle, it was with Jorginho in midfield, which is like the opposite of what you'd think, and it's the opposite of what Arteta tries to do.
But it's because
where Arteta tries exactly. But Arteta has this thing where, especially against Newcastle, that's the one that keeps annoying me, is because we've seen it fail time and time again now. He tries to go toe for toe physically with them because he knows that they're a really physical side. It's like you don't need to. I watched Arsenal beat really physical sides for years under Arsene Wenger with a midfield of like Santi Cazorla, Cesc Fabregas, Jack Wilshere. Like, you don't need these massive powerhouse dual winners to break through teams that all Newcastle are better than that in terms of, their structure and how they set up. But ultimately, you just don't need to go toe for toe physically and sacrifice a lot of the other elements of your game to beat these teams.
I think we'll have to wait and see Arsenal, what they do in the summer, to be honest. We have had, we're going to be, Arsenal season in the league is over, but Arsenal season in the Champions League is not over. Rory, you said I was rattled a few weeks ago.
Well, you probably were rattled a few weeks ago.
I don't know why you were rattled, Andrew. I can't remember now. Big up, Andrew.
The fact that you even still remember that, it seems like you're still rattled, But no, one thing I would say is a lot of people, I'm surprised at the head loss after yesterday, because yesterday to me felt very predictable. And I feel like maybe if people thought that beating PSV 7-1 was down to us figuring out all of our problems, and suddenly in the space of a week between Forest and PSV, we had unlocked the magic of this squad. No, it was that PSV very naively decided to take the game to us, decided that they were playing against a mid-table Eredivisie team in the same way that they would in the league. And against teams like that, when teams do that to us, we will put goals past them. Yeah. It was very clear that Man United weren't going to do that at any point. So, and that's why when people start talking about how we're going to get smashed in the Champions League by either of the Madrid teams,
which is the next conversation.
Yeah, the Madrid teams probably are going to take the game to us. So I think we'll have a chance. I'm not saying we'll win. We'll have a chance.
Yeah. Arteta went too defensive and sacrificed attack for the sake of control and dominance, along with injuries and dodgy decisions. He got the tactics wrong. I'm gonna have to say something. By the way, Arsenal are still one of the teams, right, that have some of the highest position in the league statistically. The problem is the approach for the attack, the way Arsenal pass the ball around, the way Arsenal approach the opposition's area is the problem. Going from the side and having Martinelli come on to run to the byline 10 times and try to cross to nobody. That is basically Arteta telling him, Martinelli, take the ball and run to the byline. But that is, listen, I'm starting to lose faith. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm losing faith in. Is next season going to be our season? I don't think so. I'm still not thinking. I can explain why.
Yeah, do so.
Okay. 2 seasons ago, you had a fantastic way of playing, but you were a surprise package and you weren't expecting to challenge. And at the end of the season, you didn't have Saliba and you fell off because Thomas Partey and Saliba both got injured. And you basically, Arteta was still not experienced enough to know the depth. You had Kivior and Holding, basically. And you had Jorginho. Did you sign Jorginho at that time in January?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically. The second reason is that, and that is the first season. Last season, you started the season slow, but at the end of the season, you had a fantastic end of the season. And I thought that you'd have a continuation from the end of the season, but you started the season very slow. And I think Arteta has changed a little bit the way he approaches attacks that has become a little bit more conservative and control-based. I'm expecting Liverpool to get better in the summer. I'm expecting Man City to get better. But these are the only two teams that I will pick with Arsenal. Like, I still think that Chelsea are far, and we're going to talk about Chelsea in a bit. Chelsea are far from challenging, right? It's not going to be next season. It may be the season after. But I still think that if I'm going to pick a team to be favorites next season, it's going to be Liverpool, especially if they keep Salah and Van Dijk. If Salah and Van Dijk leave, we're having a different conversation. But I'm picking Liverpool to be my favorites. I'm not sure, man. It's going to be between Manchester City and Arsenal, to be honest with you. But I'm not sure that you have it in you to actually win the title, to go 38 games and win the title because of how the season panned out. It's the way you played football, the mentality of your manager, the way you're going to sign Cisco in the summer, which is we know that you're going to sign Cisco in the summer. He's a project player. That is my reasoning why I don't think Arsenal next season even will win the title.
But for me, that's the exact same logic that probably a lot of us used for why Liverpool wouldn't win it this season. Looked at that group of players last season that weren't capable of pushing City and Arsenal at the end of the season. It didn't back them. I look at it.
But that backs my point, Rory. Liverpool winning the league this season is a surprise because we picked them as third favorites. Yeah. So you're backing my point that if Arsenal didn't do it next season, it will be a little bit of a surprise, right? You didn't expect Liverpool to win the title this season, did you?
No, that was surprising. I didn't expect City to fall off.
That's my whole point.
That's
my whole point.
I feel like this season is an outlier for this group of players.
But
rather
Arsenal.
than last season being the outlier.
All right. Okay.
Personally. Okay. And realistically, like having these conversations now, would you expect the group of players that Arsenal currently have available, would you expect them to be pushing for a title?
Yes. Because I've seen it 2 years. I've seen it 2 years already.
No. The group of players we currently have available. Mikel Merino as a striker.
We didn't have that for the whole season.
No,
I know we didn't have that for the whole season, but we have it now. That's what I'm saying. So you're like people are changing their opinion now after the current run of games. If you've been saying this from like November, December time, then fair enough. But it's if you change your opinion now based on the way the current group of players is playing, then like that's surely based on just
because injuries happen, and I'm expecting Arsenal to still have some injury.
But
my point.
You don't lose your four best attacking players at the same time.
You don't choose. But to be honest with you, the only one that you're actually missing is freaking Saka. Havertz missed a lot of chances. Martinelli, as we saw yesterday, is still useless. He's not better than Trossard, in my opinion. Trossard is a better player than him. Martinelli has failed to replicate the 2 seasons ago form that he had. This crop of player with that midfield and that defense should be able at least to sustain good performances, and you haven't. Your manager should have found a way to actually try to get Moreno, Odegaard to play a false 9, Trossard as a striker, something like that.
But why would you want to do that though? Why would you? So if Arsenal don't have a striker, they don't have a striker for this last period of time.
Like Diaz played as a striker because Arne Slot tried to find a way.
But Luis Diaz was not our best left winger, and I've maintained that from the start of the season. Okay. My point is Arsenal attack is struggling. Arsenal's team will be struggling.
Yes.
What you don't want to do is rock the cart more by taking some of your best players out of their actual positions to put them into other positions where they're not going to fit as well. To put worse quality players in those positions. The best thing you can do is keep the quality around the rest of the squad and hope the square peg in the round.
What is your solution then? What is your solution?
There was none. The solution was buy someone in January. That was the solution, but they didn't do it. The in-house solution was either promote a young player and hope, or do what they done, which is Mikel Merino. Because I don't see why they put Odegaard up there, then put Mikel Merino, which means that they have a lot, because then they'd have Partey, Rice, Merino. That is not a technically secure midfield, if you're asking me. I think it's more of a physical midfield, which means that you put Odegaard in the false 9. So you put Odegaard in the false 9, which means Odegaard doesn't get on the ball, which means he's effectively fucking useless as a false 9, and your midfield isn't going to create. So Odegaard's not being great anyway. But he does still offer an ounce of creativity. You put him up front and put Rice, Marino, Partey behind him. He's not getting the ball. They're not creating. Arsenal are even worse going forward than they are now, and that's impressive. The solution was Mikel Merino or promote a young lad from the academy and see if they can do a job.
I'm not opposing that. I'm not opposing that.
The problem is you're running with the assumption that there is a solution within the group of players that we currently have. You're almost running this that there is a solution, but Arteta hasn't found it, rather than looking at the possibility that there just isn't a solution for the group of players that we currently have.
I love that. I love this argument, Rory, to be honest. That's why I like arguing with you. You cornered me here. I'm like, I'm assuming that there has to be a solution.
Saying we're not missing Havertz is, I get it. He misses chances, but he was still our top scorer this season before he got injured. So you do miss.
Maybe Tom is right as well. There is no solution. The solution was to buy someone in January, and just all of the club as a whole just failed.
Yeah.
I wanted to move the conversation, but before I go on, Redline Taranga saying, David, you're so quiet. It's scary, actually. The difference is Liverpool have 4 world-class players who have won it before. Arsenal window of opportunity might be done with other clubs improving in the next few seasons. The response to this?
They've won it before thing. The first time they won it, they hadn't won it before, and yet they managed to win it. I never understand this whole thing of. Well, yeah, but if Arsenal had won it last season, all right, we fell short by a result. But if Arsenal had won it last season, then you'd probably be looking at going, well, Saka, Rice, Ødegaard, Raya, they've won it, and they are the best 5 in their position in the world. So are they world class? It is so easy to say it after the fact. No one will call them world class players until they've won it, and no one will say they've won it before until they've won it. But once they've won it, then it changes. But their ability won't actually change within that period.
But their mentality as well.
Oh, the mentality. What is it? What with Roy Keane?
Mentality.
The mentality.
But it will. If once you've won something, it's far like every.
Those 4 players have the mentality to win it.
I'm not saying they don't have it. I'm just saying that if they'd won it last year, the way that they would have reacted to what had happened this year would have been different. And I firmly believe that.
Maybe not. Why didn't those 4 world-class players with the mentality who have won it before, why did they all collapse last season? Because there were injuries in the squad.
Can I ask you guys something, David, about this? Why this same squad of Liverpool finished back-to-back seasons behind this Arsenal team with no mentality then?
Because the manager literally said he ran out of gas and just wasn't given 100%. That is one thing. I firmly believe your squad reflects if your manager's not given 100%. Also,
what about the season before that?
I also think that Klopp's tactics aren't geared to win titles. I just don't think his way of playing football is the best way to win a title, because you need to be playing at 100% every time and for it to work really well. And I don't think you can do that over a season.
That's a fact.
Look. Yeah, probably is.
Also, Liverpool in the last 2 seasons didn't have the squad. This was the first year where I said that Liverpool had a squad that could win the Premier League. I didn't think we would do it, but I said we could have a squad. Even though there wasn't any signings made, the signings that had been made had now adapted. So this was you got to bear in mind, the first year Arsenal finished ahead of us, we had pound for pound the worst midfield in the Premier League. We were regularly wheeling out Fabinho, Henderson, Milner in the great year of 2023, like we were a serious outfit. And then last year, we had a better midfield, but it wasn't adapted. We hadn't figured out the dynamics of it. McAllister was being wasted in the 6th for a lot of the year. Szoboszlai was in and out the team with injuries and form. Endo, when he finally hit a bit of form, had to drop out. Gravenberch kept getting injured and then wasn't really used properly. This year was the first year where every part of the team was ready to compete. The thing with Arsenal, I think they have a squad that can compete ability-wise. I think mentality, they have suffered all the hardship that they should need to suffer to now have the fire to go win. But I don't think Arteta puts these players in the best position to win at points. I think he needs to take the brakes off this Arsenal team, at least for a month or two in the season, and let them get a bit of confidence about the football, let them enjoy a bit of free-flowing football going forwards, because it seems very restrictive. I stand by it. The most scared I was of an Arsenal team was from about October to February of 2022-23, when regularly they were putting in 3, 4, 5 goals. Yes, they concede 1 or 2, but they were battering teams. They were absolutely snotting teams, and everyone was contributing. This now, Arsenal are very telegraphed. You know exactly what they're going to do,
But that was
and it's.
I
it's
just don't feel
I'm
like
not
they're
saying I'm not
comparable,
saying it's
though.
easy to stop. I'm not saying it's easy to
I
stop.
want to
but I'm
move
just
away a
saying
little bit fun.
that they need to. I just feel Arsenal Arteta went too far negative and need to go back to being positive and back their players. That yes, we don't need to defend it with 6 in a strict structure. Take a gamble once or twice and put the fear of God into some teams that, yeah, these lot are serious now, because I don't think we were really that scared of Arsenal this year, because it never felt like you were battering teams.
I hear him.
That's where you really get scared.
Redline Teranga, this is a very good point. Referring to how Liverpool bounced back this season, we failed because of other players. Arsenal have 3 years of failure. Players might need a new voice, but they won't get a new voice. But what if Arsenal bounce back then? Is that something out of the realm of a possibility?
I feel like this is a conversation. They said it after the first year that we failed to beat Man City. Oh, that was their only chance. They'll never do that again. How are those players going to deal with bottling that title race? And then we went and got 7 points more the following season. Like, it's. I just feel like this is. I feel like this is entirely, and I speak for myself as well as the rest of us, people who have never played elite level sport trying to get inside the heads of elite level sportsmen. And I don't think
so. I know Redline Teranga personally, but he does shows with me. The way he talks about the mentality of Arsenal is that 3 years of failure sometimes require a change. That change can be change of like the main players at in the squad, like the main factors, or the manager. And I kind of agree with this. Like, it is more likely the Arsenal not to bounce back from this if this core of players stay the same and the manager, then bounce back. I still stand by my point. Like, Arsenal need maybe a dramatic change. When I mean a dramatic change, I will say, Rory, maybe instead of getting Cisco, you get someone that will be a bigger superstar than the Odegaards. Maybe you get a couple of people that when we open the team sheet, we're not looking for the Thomas Partys, the Odegaards, the Sakas, the Rices. We're looking for, Osimhen. I'm just giving an example, and Isak. You get my point here. Like, sometimes you need that big of a change to bounce back from 3 years of not winning while challenging, if you want to say this year is challenging. And I think if Arsenal do this in the summer, as you say, you should, I believe Arsenal will go on challenge next season. But if you go again and get a striker that is an upcoming, you get a left winger, I think you will challenge. I'm not going to say you're not going to challenge, but I doubt that you will win it. I will have you second or third favorites. Not as what I put you this season. I put Arsenal first favorites this season. I picked Arsenal first favorites because of I thought that Arsenal would continue the great form of last season to this season. But you didn't. And I think it will be tough for Arsenal to go back to that form, in my opinion. But I want to move on from this conversation. I know that people want to have this conversation about Arsenal all the time, but I want to have a different conversation about Liverpool, Champions League. And the way people talk about Arsenal and Liverpool in the Champions League is crazy to me, actually. Arsenal's squad, man for man, purely ability-wise, is not that good. How many players from Arsenal get into the Liverpool team? Severe lack of individual quality. Can I respond, or someone wants to respond?
You can respond. I mean, I lose track of what the problem is. Is Arteta the problem? Are the players the problem?
Yeah. Arsenal do not have this many problems.
How
last
are we
season.
second in the league, third in the Champions League phase, flying through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League with shit players and a shit manager? It's quite impressive.
I'm gonna respond and say a couple
if you want them to
of
break down how many players get.
No. I'm not gonna. I don't want to break
No,
it down. I'm just gonna
no,
respond
no.
one thing. I don't want to break. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We'll be fair. He's paid his money. I'd say the left back definitely gets in, whichever one you want to pick. Even though I think Calafiori's a bit ropey defensively, but you can have Timber or Lewis Skelly. I don't really mind. Your left back gets in. In terms of the midfield, Declan Rice probably makes it in. I don't know for who, but we'd probably take Declan Rice in the midfield as an option. And in the attack, I mean, can Saka play left wing? Outside of that,
No, but I actually have another. I have another talk.
Sorry.
This
I take Saliba over Konate purely because he just stays fit longer. I don't think he's better, but I think he just
there's
stays fit.
there's one other thing as well. Is this based on this season or over the past 2 seasons? Both Saliba and Gabriel have been better than Konate, right? If you want to say over the last 2 seasons, would you take a Szoboszlai or would you take Odegaard? Would you take Declan Rice or Gravenberch in the midfield? The problem about this is that this season, yes, and Arsenal have had their problems, but you are not talking about form. You said purely ability. Pure ability, Declan Rice at the 6 is better than Gravenberch. Right? A DM.
No, but I don't know whether we want to keep Gravenberch there because I don't think Declan Rice is great.
No, I love Gravenberch. I think he deserves a shot for player of the season.
No, Mo. I don't know if we would have Declan Rice and then move McAllister further up the pitch and play Rice and Gravenberch together.
Maybe, exactly. But here's the point. Are we basing it on the past 28 games that we have played this season? Because if you say that, you don't say purely ability, right? You don't say that. Pure ability. Right? Because, by the way, purely ability-wise, Luis Diaz is better than Martinelli, Trossard in pure ability, dribbling and all the stuff, right? It doesn't work like this, my friend. Brandon here is saying a star player can make a difference in a match. Yes, that's what I mean. But it is the system and play style implemented. We'll see if Arteta is brave enough to allow someone to go out of the plan. That's the most important aspect, the difference maker. Arsenal don't have a lot of them other than Mr. Saka, who sometimes carries Arsenal, a lot of times actually, carries Arsenal in terms of like making... Rory, you look so like you're fasting as well. And I am fasting still. I haven't broken my fast.
No, I'm not fasting.
Okay. I am fasting. I wanted to actually talk about the Liverpool game against PSG a little bit. Everyone is saying it's a full-on conclusion. I'm going to come to Chelsea, Dave. But there are a couple of things. Big up Don in the chat. We haven't done shows in a while, Don. We must absolutely get something going. I'm going to ask David, is the PSG game full-on conclusion that Liverpool are going to go through?
No. I don't know why. Again, I am someone who's very... This whole magic of Anfield thing, I'm not entirely convinced by it. I don't think it's quite.
Why did he turn off his camera once he said that?
It's not quite got the pull that I think people think it does. It's not the Bernabeu. Do you know what I mean? It's not. You're not playing Real Madrid in the final. It's not that strong. It's definitely a factor, but it's not that strong. And I feel like if you play up to it, Mr. Arteta playing speakers in the training, then I don't think it goes well for you. I'm making a small joke. Don't worry, Rory. I know it's all jokes. I thought PSG played them quite well, and except an exceptional goalkeeping performance, PSG probably should be going to Anfield with a lead. So if Liverpool's plan is to hold on to their 1-0 lead, I don't think they're going to hold out for the whole 90 minutes. I think Liverpool have to go and get at least 2 goals.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It will be interesting how Liverpool approach it, because there's no way about it. They got outplayed in the first leg, but they came away with the win. So then it's like, normally if you came away with the win from the away leg, you'd be like, okay, we're the better team. We'll win the home leg as well, no problem. But yeah, I don't know. And Anfield, I think I saw a stat. I think 3 of the last 6 European knockout games at Anfield, Liverpool have lost. So and Atalanta last season smoked you 3-0 at Anfield. So I don't. It's it's not the fortress that you may think. And PSG rested their entire starting 11 at the weekend, which I was kind of surprised Liverpool didn't do a little bit.
I wanna ask Tom something. It's a very what Dave and Rory said is very true about how do you approach the game? Do you actually think you're the better team because you won 1-0 away, or you approach it that you were on the back foot for 90 minutes and you got away with it? Because this is the question. Hold on, the question. The question is exactly if you don't sit back, are you going to be able to fend against Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Barcola on a counter attack?
Yeah, look, Liverpool won't sit back at Anfield. Liverpool can't sit back at Anfield. The ultimate fact of the matter is Liverpool Football Club will. The magic of Anfield is something. The magic of Anfield is the only reason we have a 5th Champions League against David's team, because there's no rhyme or reason why Liverpool in 2005 should be beating Chelsea in 2005, bar that atmosphere and the effect it had on the team. I can't downplay what Anfield is on a European night. I think that if all we need to do is play our game, we were shit against PSG for all intents and purposes. But I think that kind of plays into our hands in the second leg, because I don't think PSG change anything. Because why would you? Why would you change anything after that first leg? You'd play pretty much the same way. So now we know how we figured out how to stop their style of play in the second half. Now, how can we do that, but with a little bit more of a front foot nature? And I think that's it. If we get an early goal, I think it changes everything. Because I think that's where PSG's head's going. It's just a case of, for fuck's sake, why did we lose at home, and now this is going on? I do think we'll get the job done. I don't think it's going to be a 4-5, an absolute demolition job. I do think PSG are going to be a real threat, because they are a real threat of a team. But with the fact that they have to play the same way, they can't come back and try and neutralise the fans. I do think it will just be a case where we have enough to get the job done. PSG are a really good team. They're a really, really good team, but these are the kind of nights which Liverpool is made for as a football club, and I don't think we'll wilt this time. I really do, especially with it being the first big European knockout night under Arne Slot. I think they're always pretty memorable. So I back us to get the job done.
It's so sentimental with Liverpool fans. You guys noticed. It is very sentimental talk.
Someone in the chat just said PSG would never have played at a stadium like Anfield before, as if it's this.
I mean, ironically, they've played at Anfield before.
I actually have to say something. The atmosphere in England is dead in comparison with France, by the way. If anybody, I'm not sure if any of you have went to a game in France and seen the actual French fans and the ultras.
PSG, when they came to the Emirates this year, even their fans were unbelievable. Like compared to any other set of Premier League away fans.
I have went to Nice versus Marseille, which is kind of a derby, and I couldn't believe myself, because I went to stadiums in England. Like I went to see, and it is a massive difference. And in Italy as well, it is so different. Like the French fans are crazy. Just people don't understand. They're just crazy. And I applaud them for it. It's the atmosphere was crazy actually in the Nice stadium that night. But it's not about that. It's not about the fans. It's not about things. I'm actually about the football though. I actually think Liverpool attacking would actually suit PSG very well. Very, very well.
Yeah. I think if they've got more space to work in, they'll
that's it. Exactly. That they'll create even more. That's why I don't think Arne Slot.
They can't have more space than they had in the first leg. I'll tell you that much. We were giving them the freedom of the wings.
But you parked the bus, especially second half. You parked the bus.
No,
we're doubling on every single winger.
Yes, because we figured it out in the second half. This is what I'm saying. If we play like we did in the first half, fucked. But the fact of the matter is, they need to play the same way to get results, which means we know how to beat that way.
But you just said
we've done it.
But you just said you think they will play that the way that you just said you think Liverpool will play effectively like you did in the first half, where you will actually go for them.
No, I don't. No. I said that we'll play like we did in the second. But why would I want us to play like we did in the first half? We were shit in the first half and we get battered again.
But we just said first half you actually went for them and that left space which they attacked. Whereas second half you parked the bus.
I don't think we went for them. I don't think we went for them in the first half though.
They didn't, Rory. I just checked. They didn't.
We didn't go for them in the first half. Our structure was just wank.
Yeah, they actually didn't.
They outnumbered our midfield 4-2. The moment they passed through Szoboszlai and Jos's press, they had Vitinha, Hakimi, Fabian Ruiz, and either Dembele or Kvaratskhelia dropping in.
They still had almost
McAllister
70% ball position, by the way. And the position, I just checked the positioning of the play in the first half.
We didn't go for them in the first half. They played us in the first half. In the second half, we figured out a way to neutralise how they were playing, gain more counter-attacking opportunities. I wouldn't say we parked the bus. I'd just say we were better structured. I'd say we were as deep.
You literally parked the bus. You literally parked the bus.
No, because that's not what parking the bus is. I would say we were as deep in the first half as we were the second half. We were just a lot better structured. You can park.
You had 11 men behind the ball.
You were very good. You were very good structure parking the bus. Yes.
Even Salah was doing defensive duties.
Salah wasn't doing defensive duties. Fucking hell, he wasn't. He was staying up for Nuno Mendes and then just losing the ball.
More defensive working than Trent did.
No, that was against City. Against fucking PSG, he didn't do any defensive work.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you, Tom. In the heat map, I just checked now. The main red part is in your half.
Yes, because right, Mo. Yes. If a team has 70% possession, why the fuck would Mohamed Salah's heat map be by their box?
No, but they were camped in your half with that possession.
Yes, they were.
So where do you think your players were?
I'm not attacking you.
They're camped in your half.
So we have a different.
Where do you think your players were?
Why is Tom so defensive? We are okay with you parking the bus.
It worked. You won the game.
I am saying that we have different definitions of what parking the bus is. I don't think we had two boxes, two like lines of engagement camped in our box. I'd say our line, we were trying to maintain an area outside our box as much as possible. Our defensive line was trying to stay outside the box. I don't think you parked the bus whilst trying to keep everyone outside the box. If you think that's parked the bus, that's fine.
So the bus was parked on the edge of the box rather than inside the box.
Fine.
But the bus was still parked.
If we want to go for that, we'll go for that. That's fine. But we'll argue semantics another day. But my point is, we know how to beat them. We know how to neutralize their threats that they had in that first game.
But you're not going to play like that.
Hold on, exactly, Rory. That's Rory's question and David's question. Okay, Tom, I think you're misunderstanding what the three of us are saying.
I'm not, but you're just jumping in before I can explain it. Yes, I don't think we're going to sit with 11 players in our half again. I do think we're going to be more proactive. But in terms of knowing how to stop their attacks, we are better at it. In the first half, we were leaving our fullbacks one-on-one. I don't think in the second
waffling
game...
big time.
How are you going to attack them?
No. I want to hear... Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish, Tom. Sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
In the first game, we left our midfield undermanned and we left our fullbacks isolated one-on-one. I don't think we'll do that again. I think you'll see Curtis Jones start. We'll go for the four-man midfield in the same way that we did against Villa and the same way that we did against City. And you will see us try and control the game in the midfield, match them man for man in the midfield. So when Hakimi comes in or when Dembele drops in and they create a little diamond in the midfield, we have four players there ready to match them up man for man. And you will see when they progress it out wide, who I think it'll end up being McAllister and
Robertson
Jones.
On the left.
No. McAllister and Jones will go shuttle out to help out the wing backs. But I don't think we're going to sit there, camp deep, looking for counter-attacks. I think we'll try and get our foot on the ball more, try and get a bit more possession, play the four-man midfield, which means we can have better movement there. I just don't think you're going to see another game like the 30% possession. But what I'm saying is that we know how they are going to try and hurt us, so we know where to stop. In the first half, we didn't know where to stop. When we tried to stop them in the middle, they'd go out wide. When we tried to commit out wide, they'd go through the middle. Now we know where they want to go. So we have a plan for how to stop them. I'm not saying there's going to be no space left, but I don't think there'll be the same space left in the first half against PSG because that was a structural issue that I don't think we'll have again.
Yeah, I hear what he's saying. He's saying that they're gonna try to control the game, and once they lose the ball, they're gonna double on the wings again. I think we'll have to.
Surely,
Go ahead.
I just think if you do, I was gonna say, if you do that, I just feel like you're gonna leave yourself very exposed in midfield. If you're gonna double every single time and you're only playing with 2 midfielders, then there's just gonna be
No, they're gonna
massive
play with
hole in the
4. I think the difference is, I hear what Tom is saying. They're gonna actually sacrifice a forward and play with 4 midfielders: Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch. And on the ball, they're gonna try to go forward with these 4 players, like what they did against City, and it worked, right? But on defense, when they don't have the ball, they're gonna try to actually pack that midfield to have enough people to cover the sides and also cover the midfield without having 3 up top. And I hear what Tom is saying. My only problem is that I actually don't know how Liverpool try to go and score, for example, and commit like 6 players forward, or do Liverpool be a little bit conservative and try to go with 2-3 guys up top? Because do you leave it at 1-0, hoping that PSG will not score for 90 minutes and Alisson will have a good game, or you will be able to stop them? Or do you go and be on the front foot and make it 2-0 right away and just kill off the game, and PSG now on the back foot?
I think at Anfield, it shouldn't devolve to this, but if it devolved to a straight shootout at Anfield, we'd get a draw, which would be enough. Because as scary as PSG can be in attack, we are also a very scary team attacking wise. That's why I think that, I'm not necessarily sitting there going, okay, we need to park the bus because we're never going to score. We need one fucking attack to score against them. I am not scared of Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Nobody is.
If we have 4 or 5 good attacks, we'll score one because Donnarumma is wank. Now, I'm not expecting Alisson to have a game like he did last week, but I back Alisson if they have 4 or 5 decent attacks to save them. I don't back Donnarumma in the same case, so I think you'll see a 4-man midfield. I think you'll see Núñez start, and I think you'll see Salah playing off him. And it will be a case of it won't be necessarily I reckon we'll probably still lose the possession battle, but it won't be 70-30. It'll probably be closer to about 45-55. And our plan will be defending in a solid mid-block. The moment we get the ball, send it up to Núñez, because he's the only one that can apparently hold it up against Marquinhos. And that'll bring Jones, Szoboszlai, and Salah into the game. And then we'll attack with 4, maybe 5 if Trent decides he wants to get forward. But I think you'll see the likes of McAllister and Gravenberch being a little bit more conservative, at least for the first half. I think what will end up happening is, as the game wears on and on and on, we'll bring on the likes of Diaz, bring on the likes of Gakpo. If it's still 1-0, and try and nick a goal on the break with 10-15 to go and leave it there. But I don't think we're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be like the first game in Paris. I don't think we're gonna be that passive.
But I actually don't see. I think it's 20% to PSG winning versus Liverpool 80% going through. To be honest, I don't see PSG going through. But listen, I have another question for everyone. Tom, you stopped the attack, but the goalkeeper was on the match. Explained.
Right. So first half, Alisson Becker made 4 to 5 world-class saves because our structure was wank. In the second half, our structure was better. So I want you to look. Alisson Becker still made a number of really good saves in that first half, but look at where the shots came from. PSG didn't have they had 1 shot from inside the box, which was a Dembele slice. Every shot from PSG in that second half pretty much came from outside the box. They're shots that your keeper wants to face. In the first half, he was facing one-on-ones and cutbacks in the box and rebounds in the box. He got man of the match for a 90-minute performance, but he faced much worse chances in the second half than the first half. That's why. That's what I'm saying. If you're saying that in the second half, we didn't stop them, then I think you're being delusional.
Yeah. Brandon, we parked a few buses. I'm worried about PSG. We were lucky to steal a win in Paris. Hopefully, we don't start like how we did against Southampton. If Liverpool go 1-0 down, by the way, I'm worried for them. But Brandon, big up. Yeah, I don't think it's Southampton. Liverpool will rise to the occasion. Liverpool will definitely rise to the occasion. I was embarrassed by Real low block against Liverpool. Did Real play low block against Liverpool?
A real low block, I'm assuming, not Real.
No, I think he
Oh,
does.
yeah.
mean right.
He does mean Real Madrid.
You want about them? Yeah, but ultimately, I don't think whether you like it or not, low blocks are a way to play. I think low
By the
block.
way, I
you have to
like
play
low
it.
blocks if
You
in the
have to
knockout
play it at points.
competitions.
You
Like,
have to
why
play
are
it
you
at points.
so?
Low block is the way to win European knockout ties.
Yes.
You go away from home and you make sure you don't get beat.
That's why I think. That's why I think Arsenal do have a chance, even though it's very slim. I think
Yeah,
having a
thank you, David. I'm not
having
crazy.
a-
I'm not
no,
crazy.
because again, Chelsea won a Champions. I know it's not the norm. Before anyone says that, Chelsea won a Champions League with Timo Werner, Mason Mount, and Kai Havertz up front. Why? Because we didn't concede goals. We did that. That was it. We went the whole Champions League knockout. I think we conceded 2 goals. That is a way you can win the Champions League, because ultimately you don't have to. If you go a whole Champions League campaign. Oh, I'm frozen. If you got a whole Champions League campaign and you don't concede a goal, you can win every single tie. If you score 5 goals every single Champions League tie, you can still not win. So a strong defense is far more important than a high.
That's why.
Go look at the history of the Champions League.
We conceded 1 goal in the Champions League only.
Go look at the history of Champions League winners and look at how many of them sat there and played this nice, expansive, free-flowing football every round. I'll tell you right now, at most it's 2. One of them is Barca, because Pep Guardiola doesn't know how to play low block. And one of them was Bayern, when they were just the superior team in Europe that year and won a goddamn fucking treble. Every other team, at a point, will sit deep and absorb pressure, especially away from home, because it is how to get results. I don't know why people look down on a low block.
Yeah. I have a question for everyone.
Is it frustrating to play against? Yes. Oh my God, it's the most frustrating thing to go against if your team's shit at attacking and you're watching 90 minutes of your team put aimless cross after aimless cross after aimless cross after aimless long shot type thing.
That's the thing. Arsenal have conceded 4 goals in 9 games in the Champions League this season. And if you look at our games, not just in the Champions League, but against the big teams in the Premier League as well, we don't concede many goals against them. And so when people talk about how like we're going to get rolled over by either of the Madrid teams, I don't think we might not beat either of them. Don't get me wrong. If we don't beat them, it will be because we don't score, not because we concede 4 or 5 goals against them.
Yeah, I have my guy here, Madrid, GDJ, saying don't care about about low blocks, only care about the win. I actually had a crazy discussion yesterday. Let's imagine that Arsenal go to the semi-final, Liverpool go to the semi-final. Let's just imagine that. I actually claim that by that time, the Champions League semi-final, now it turns into the league game. It's how Arsenal have not lost a league game against a big team in, I think, like 2 years or something
18.
like this.
Yeah, 18
right?
games.
18 games. So people tell me that it will be different because it's at Anfield. And I'm like, yes, because the second league is at Anfield. But I don't think it turns into a European night at Anfield. Because Arsenal, the word European night is a European team coming in that haven't been playing at Anfield for a while. This crop of players for Arsenal have been playing at Anfield for 3 years now. They have seen Anfield for 3 years away from home. And they have lost, basically, at Anfield. So people tell me that, no, it's different. And I claim, no, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah. Quite a few of these players have never lost a game at Anfield, despite playing there 2 or 3 times. At least twice.
Why do people keep saying it's going to be different in the Champions League for Arsenal if they play Liverpool? It will be for them.
Huh?
I'm just trying to think of which players haven't lost at Anfield. Saliba
for Arsenal, Saliba, Rice, anyone that we basically anyone that we signed.
So it's just for Arsenal because like Rice has lost at Anfield before.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
right, okay.
But here's a problem, Tom. My point about this crop of players with Arsenal, they know their way to just shithouse a draw at Anfield. They have done it back-to-back seasons, basically. They have went to Anfield, played whatever shithouse game people say, and they just got a draw.
I mean,
it's the same as when Real Madrid play Barcelona in the Champions League.
I'll be very honest, Mo. I wouldn't say the first year they got a draw against us was shithouse because they went 2-0 up. That
Yes,
was a shit house. They bottled it. Last year, yes, they shit housed the way to a draw. Could have been a pen, but they shit housed the way to a draw. But again, Champions League is different. You know this better than anyone, Mo, because you're a club.
Yeah, but not in the league. Okay,
Champions League is different.
See, not when
Premier
teams
League
from the same.
Champions League
Okay, hold on.
guys don't normally have that same.
Can I just say? Can I say my claim, which is I claim the same for my club. Champions League is different until you face a team from your own country that you have just played in the league, and now it turns into like, okay, I've seen this before. I've been here before.
Disagree.
I have this thing about like this Champions League heritage and all the thing until you face a team from your own country, and it turns into a league game basically for them.
I think there's two again.
Because why would it be different? It's the same exact crowd, same exact player, same exact manager, same press conferences before the game, same press reporting about the game from the same country reporting about the game. Both clubs hear the same press. Like basically, for example,
Tom can't believe that because of the magic of Anfield.
Yeah.
You can't. The two things can't coexist.
No, I don't think we should never have beat Chelsea in the years we beat them. We didn't beat them in the league the years we beat them. In fact,
I'm not saying you
in 2005, in 2005, we lost a cup final to them when fucking Stevie put it in his own net. Like,
I don't think European nights at Anfield are the same now as they were in 2005. To be honest,
I don't think you can downplay.
I'm not downplaying it, but it's no atmosphere at any of the big clubs. This is
very important. The only thing to be honest, the only thing that is different, the only thing is the anthem before the game and the official. Everything else look exactly the same.
No,
stewards the same.
No, because effectively you've now gone from. I feel like you're playing that team now. By the time the second leg's rolled round, you play that team 4 times. So like, I feel like if you're going to get an upset, it's going to be from like countries playing each other, because there's going to be so many different game plans going on at the same time. You've already watched the hours of film that you've got to watch to review Inter when they come up because they're not in your league isn't the same for Arsenal, because you've already done all that work already. So then it becomes a game of how are we going to counteract what we've already seen, because we know what they do already.
And that's what I mean. It's the European night definition is different when you play a team from a different country than when your own country. Like if Inter are playing AC Milan in the Champions League, it looks exactly to me like the league game. I'm looking at it exactly like the league. It's the same people that actually talk about the same tacticians. Like you don't even have to get new tapes. You know, like you've watched this team for the whole year and you studied them. So, and I get Gregory here is saying, ask City and Chelsea if it's the same, Mo. But I'm going to tell you one thing, and I responded to this yesterday. City also never won at Anfield in Jurgen Klopp's era with Pep. Never. So they still haven't won at Anfield. So they still went to Anfield and lost.
They beat us at Anfield.
But they beat you without crowd, and the league was already over in 2021. So in 2020, sorry. So the league was already over. Anyway, we're going past Arsenal, getting past the Madrid teams, which is I think it's a 15 to 20% chance at most. I think Liverpool will go through against PSG. I think Liverpool will be in the semi-final at least.
Will they beat Villa? And Unai Emery.
No, you're not. Second leg's at Anfield.
Rory, you think Unai is going to do Arsenal a favour?
Arsenal?
No, but do you know why? Because if he could give himself the chance of getting to a semi-final against Arsenal and beating us, I can't imagine a more giddy Unai Emery for that situation. Literally,
it will be a good evening for him then, Rory.
Yeah, he'll sacrifice his own family for the opportunity to do that. So. No, I don't think.
The hatred that man has for Arsenal is brilliant.
It's crazy.
Do you guys? I'm gonna move on to Chelsea now, just for the next time. But do you guys really think that he hates Arsenal? Unai Emery?
Not a hatred, but like he is so desperate to prove everyone wrong, to prove to people that we should never have got rid of him, and he goes out of his way to try and prove that every time they play against us.
It's crazy, actually. Guys, we still have about 500 people in the house. We're not even on 200 likes. Hit that like button. Also, I got a shameless plug before I go on. And also, all these guys' channels in the description. I'm very close to 30K, 104 subscribers away from that. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new as well. Chelsea, though. Chelsea. They won 2 games. And some Chelsea fans, aka Shez, is saying Chelsea can get second. He's being shameless, of course. I like it. He's being shameless. But are Chelsea back on track at all?
Too early to say.
You won 2 games back to back for the first time in
we
months.
won against Leicester and Southampton. If we didn't get 6 points out of that game, the riots that were already happening, there would have been multiple people holding signs saying this club's finished, get it all sorted. So I think it's too early. I think the Arsenal game will be quite telling as to.
No, you're playing Arsenal away, so it doesn't mean anything. Like, you're playing Arsenal, you are expected to lose that game, and any Chelsea fan that says otherwise is deluded.
No, but Mo, if we go and win, then it's
a surprise. It's a surprise. Okay, hear me out. I don't predict surprises. Like, I hope for a surprise because we all like surprises. Logically speaking, if you ask 90% of the people, anyone that is going to the Emirates is inferior, right? Especially a team like Chelsea that only won against Southampton and Leicester, from your own words. If you go and win, it's a surprise. Am I wrong to say that, people?
What I would say is I don't think that in Arsenal and Chelsea's current iterations, they're actually that different, to be honest. In terms
I predict a draw, to be honest.
I think obviously Arsenal are favourites, but it's not shocking for any result, in my opinion. Unless it's like a 4-0 like loss to somebody. Then that's shocking. But apart from that, I don't think
like 5-0 last.
By the way, you know that if Chelsea go to the Emirates and win there, you're only 2 points behind them or 3 points behind them.
Yeah, I know. But for me, I'm not worried about. I just want to finish in the top 4, win the Conference League, and it will just prove that I've been right the whole time. Because I know what's going on at my football club, but for some reason, no one else wants to look at the most obvious things going on. I just don't get it. And I think, and I still stand by.
Do you think? Hold on, let me ask you this: you think finishing in the top 5 just proves everyone wrong, and you are right?
Yes, 100%.
Regardless of how Cole Palmer has regressed, how you have had regression from last season, because Poch would have got you top 5 as well.
He's regressed so much. He's got 20 goals and assists in the Premier League. That's a
terrible. You don't think Palmer has regressed?
Such a terrible player. Such a terrible player.
I never said that.
But my point is that he's going through a bad patch, but I'm not worried about Cole Palmer. I don't think Cole Palmer's regressed. I don't.
You don't think Cole Palmer has regressed?
I don't think Cole Palmer's regressed, not at all.
Oh, hold on, how so?
Because I don't see it as blanket as he's got less goals and assists than last year, or even that his performances look worse, therefore he's worse than he was before. I don't think it's that simple, because I think he's been asked to do a different role.
So he had regressed because the manager have asked him to do something different.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it's as simple as if Cole Palmer is the only focal point of the team, which I felt like he was under Poch, then of course he's going to get far more goals and opportunities. Whereas with Maresca, he has to play more in a system, and I feel like he's doing I still think he's doing a great job of it. I just don't think that people are cottoning on to the fact that is what is going on. I think it's like, oh my God, Cole Palmer missed a penalty yesterday. He's really bad now, and it's like, why are people so reductive? I don't really get it. I don't. But I think. Does
anybody here think that Cole Palmer have regressed this season a little bit than last season? And there are reasons for it.
Regression, or I just think he's out of form.
Regression would imply he's gotten worse as a footballer. I don't think he's gotten worse as a footballer.
What do you think happened then?
I think he's just low on confidence. Players can just have bad patches of form, and so he's missing chances at the moment that he didn't miss last season. Missed a couple of big chances. Was against Southampton that you'd expect him to score. Obviously missing a penalty. First time he's done that. That can happen to anyone. It's just one of those things that typically happens when you're in a bad vein of form. But I also agree that he's not being platformed to succeed in the way that he did under Pochettino, which is 100% contributing to that dip in form as well. Bit of both.
Anybody here think that Chelsea next season can be a title contender at all?
No.
Depends on what they do in the summer and how quickly players.
What about the manager? Do you think Enzo Maresca can be a title contending coach?
Yeah.
No.
Based on what you have seen this season?
Don't see why not.
No.
Really don't see why not.
Does anybody here see why not? Tom is going to be title holder. Rory, sorry. Rory, I'm sorry.
I don't think Chelsea are going to do enough to close the gap. I still maintain doubts about Maresca as a manager. And I don't think that squad is close enough to where one window can bring them into title contention. And for me, title contention is, can I realistically see you winning it? I don't think I can realistically see Chelsea winning the title next year. I still think they're a couple of years away from that. So not next year. I don't think they're like 5, 6, 7 years away. I think if they nail a couple of signings and a couple of players develop correctly and stop getting injured, then you'll see them close the gap a lot. But as it stands, I just think not yet. Not yet, I don't think.
I felt like Maresca had been found out in December. And up until this point, I've not seen him prove that he's figured out how to change. Like winning against Southampton and Leicester was, if you beat them, it's okay. Like, you should absolutely be beating them. If you dropped any points, it would have been, that is a horrific drop point. So, yeah, I don't think he's proven yet that he's figured out how to play against good low blocks. And
it's not only that. If you can't utilize your best, okay, can I add something before David comes in? Is that okay?
Go for it.
If you can't utilize your best player in Cole Palmer, I think that's a big red flag. If you have your best player and you can't utilize the guy, and if you can't sort out your defense well, I think that is a massive red flag for me. If you can do
again, that. I don't think we actually have. I don't think structurally we're a bad defensive team. I think we have idiots playing in defense.
I disagree with this, by the way. I think structurally you're not good defensively. I think you leave a lot of spaces for the opposition.
No, but Robert Sanchez again yesterday, like that first half an hour was the only reason why Leicester had any hope of somehow.
But that's Leicester City, bro.
And yeah. So why is he making more? Why is he still making mistakes? It should be an easy game.
You know, that was a bozo moment for him that he missed.
He dived out of the way, and Tosin was incredibly lucky to not score an own goal. Like, he just didn't even need to do it. I don't know why he's doing it. I don't know why he's backing goal, to be honest. But I think when we have Fofana and Colwill both fit, I think Chelsea's defense looks much better. I feel like it looks a lot more assured.
You know what the problem with Chelsea is that you do a lot of last-ditch tackles because Caicedo's by himself in the middle. Enzo Fernandez attack a lot. Cole Palmer doesn't defend, and that is a massive problem for me.
I've said this until either Lavia's got to sort out his fitness,
yes,
or we need to find like another defensive partner for Caicedo, because I felt Chelsea's best football was when Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo were all playing together, and I think that Caicedo works the best when he's got Lavia. In my opinion,
That's where I think in the summer you might go wrong. Firstly, there's a lot of work I think you need to do. But secondly, if there is work that you don't do where you're gambling, I think you don't get another centre-back, which you need because you can't rely. Fofana is so crucial to your defence, but fitness-wise, you can just assume he's going to miss significant periods of every season. And Lavia is the same. And it's like if you gamble in the summer on both of them being fit next season and then they're not, I think you'll run into the exact same problems again. And they're probably, if you're looking at it, you're like, okay, we have to upgrade the keeper. We have to probably go out and find another winger, assuming Mudrik's going to be banned. We probably need to get a striker because I still don't think Nicholas Jackson will score you the amount of goals you need. And at that point, it's like, I don't even know how much money you can spend this summer, but
yeah, again, we have players out on loan who are like at Strasbourg who are quite good. Andre Santos will come into this team and be very good. Mamadou Sarr, I don't know much about him, but from people I know who watch the French league have said he's quite good. So I'll take their word for it. And again, he's.
Yeah, but that's the whole point, David. Title winning good or just good?
No, I don't know. I'm not someone who's going to gamble on a young player. That's the one thing I'll never be. I'll never gamble on a young player. And I don't. The reason why I say maybe Chelsea could be title contenders is depending on what the board do, because I'm interested to see what their plan is. Is the plan let the team grow and sign young beneath, or is the plan we've got enough young players, now we're going to go big? If it's now we're going to go big, then I can see a world where Chelsea are battling, or at least a bit more consistent, like when it comes to challenging for a title. If it's the first way of what I think it will be actually is buying young and letting the squad grow, then this squad won't win a league until 2027 at the earliest. Which I don't think is a terrible strategy, but people are, for a better word, that people are stupid and they want to just be like, they just want to, be loud for no reason. But like, get your head on.
Do you think
we're not protesting? No, I'm just saying, like, people aren't protesting because the performances aren't going well and we hate this ownership. Yet you're all singing we had our Chelsea back when we were second in the league with 3 points off the top.
Yeah, the owners went an issue in November, but my question is, do you see the owners going big in the summer, or and what's big for them? Because they clearly have a model in mind, and seemingly any play that makes you a title contender goes against that model.
Yeah, but my question if I could speak to the owners, my question would be, is your plan to always have like the youngsters in terms of like you're always trying to buy to flip? Or is your plan to have a base of those players and then on top of that, now we've got enough of them, then we're going to put on top?
I almost think they want to, that this first batch is about get all of them in, develop 3 or 4 into world class, sell the rest, and then start a cycle of bringing in more and more and more, and maybe 1 or 2 out of every cycle becomes a part of the team, but they try and keep the same core of 4 or 5 from the very first batch. So your Palmers, your Caicedos, your
Enzo,
ironically fucking Enzo, Cucurella type thing. These guys that came in with the first batch of it and will be there for 5, 6, 7 years, who will see maybe 2 or 3 more full squad rotations, but maybe out the next one, you get your striker and your right back. And then the third one, you get your real marquee centre-back and you get a winger. And then in 7 years' time, without buying a world-class player, you've got 5 or 6. I just don't see Chelsea going out in this window and going, Victor Osimhen, we're buying you. Centre-back, I don't know. I'm not saying they will do, but Bastoni, we're buying you. 170 million, 2 players, bang. I would see them go, right, we'll buy you because you've got world-class potential, we'll have you on the left. We'll buy you because you've got world-class potential, we'll have you up front, so you can rotate with Jackson, you can take some of the pressure off you. You're a young centre-back, we'll buy you, you've got Levi Colwill, you can form a partnership with Colwill, we'll keep tossing at the back because he can offer a little bit there. I just don't see the ownership for Chelsea making the moves to turn you into title contenders this summer.
I was muted. The issue you've got as well is you've got like UEFA publishing reports about how, this Chelsea squad's the most expensive squad ever assembled in the history of football. And it's, how do you, to balance that with then saying, yeah, but we might not win a title till 2027. It's like, well, you kind of,
because when you look at how the money's spent, it's not the most expensive squad all spent on the first team. No. There is a lot.
By the way, nobody thinks like that, Dave. Like,
I know.
Yeah,
people,
but this guy is loaned out, or this guy is. Like,
I know people don't want to. I know, but Mo, I know people don't want to think like that. But that doesn't change the fact of what is going on. If you don't want to think like it, that's cool. If you don't want to think 2 + 2 = 4, that's fine. But that is what is going on. So that's what's happening. Loads of these, like 500 mil of the 1.5 bill that you won't like. Will never play a game of football for Chelsea. and will all be sold for probably a profit, but you won't see it. And one thing that nobody likes to talk about is that, Chelsea have spent 1.5 billion. We've also sold 800 million pound worth.
And I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm only going to wait to see if Vega, Dewsbury Hall, Madueke, Nkunku, Sancho are sold for profit, or Disasi as well. I'm going to give you that.
But they're not.
These are expensive players that were bought. Like even Vega was 11 million, if I'm not mistaken, or 15, right? And that is the cheapest one. But Disasi was not cheap. Dewsbury Hall is not cheap. Sancho's not cheap. 25 million is not like peanuts. You still have to sell him for 35 to make profit, or 30, right? I am waiting to see these players.
Sold, though?
I don't know. I'm not sure, actually.
I think Sancho's actually done quite a decent job, to be fair. Not enough to
the
be
money.
A starter,
to be honest, for the money you spent for 25 million, he's done just an okay job.
Yeah, but 25 mil is what you get for an okay job nowadays. That's like
exactly.
Yeah, but again, Vega has touched the first team field. I'm talking about your David Washingtons, your Wandersons. These people you never heard of. Right?
A lot of Chelsea fans told us they're going to be first teamers, by the way.
Yeah, but loads of Chelsea fans don't know what's going on at their own club because they're protesting the same thing that they were saying they got the Chelsea back. So
my argument would be then, if you're spending all of this money and allowing yourselves to have the tag as the biggest spenders and the most expensive squad in world history, if you're then it's not just going to be enough to win a Premier League title in 2027, grab a Premier League. You're going to have to dominate football for a sustained period at that point.
Because again, Chelsea fans.
But then but if that's not the plan, then you may as well have just spent 1.5 billion on the best starting 11 in the world, the best manager, and won a title this year.
We've sold. We sell more than anybody else. No.
But hold on. What Rory said, that you just didn't hear that last sentence. He said, "Okay, it's better then to just spend the 1.5 billion to get the best players in the world, the best managers, dominate, and you'll make the money anyway from the sponsorship and the prizes and all this stuff. You don't need to have this."
But that's not how football works now, unfortunately. Because all the best football teams in the world have a structured plan and process which they follow. And they don't all go Man City have won 4 in a row, but that took 10 years of building before that to get to that point. Chelsea,
they were winning titles all along the way.
And it took them a while to get to the dominating phase. And I'm not going to say that Chelsea won't win a title for 10 years and then go and win 4 in a row. What I'm saying is that if you look at what we had before, the Mason Mount squads, they were never going to win anything in there, no matter how much work.
Is your squad better now than it was then?
I think so. 100%, I think so. And I don't even think it's close. But I don't think people quite understand what is going on, because that's
I reckon the squad before you spent 1.5 billion would give a good game to the squad now.
The squad just needs time, in my opinion. And
yes, I know the
1.5 billion. Again, remember 300 million of that is Todd Bowley being an idiot, and the only thing that came out of that was Mark Cucurella. And then, ironically, the things that we bought in that summer, most of them are already not at the club anymore. The only one I think that's left is Sterling, and he's currently rotting away on Arsenal's bench. So,
this will have to wait and see. I still think that Chelsea will make top 5, and everyone will come and say, "We told you so." Chelsea are doing the right thing. Enzo Maresca's the right appointment. We bought the right players.
Mo.
Can you just let me finish the sentence, and then you can respond, so could just get somewhere?
Yeah.
And that is my point, that we're gonna forget everything that Enzo Maresca did for the rest of for this season. And it's the opposite to what people at the end. Poch won a lot of games at the end of the season, but people keep telling us, but you don't understand what he did in the middle of the season. So Maresca will be the same.
I even though I would have kept Poch, because I felt like, again, the squad needed continuity.
Yes.
I see why he was sacked. I can't see a reason why Maresca would be sacked, especially if he does finish.
He's not going to get sacked. He's not.
No, I don't think he will. Yeah, but at the end of the season, if we do finish in the top 4, I don't think every Chelsea fan has the right to say, "I told you so."
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, if he gets top 4, you can't sack him. because that was the job description. He had to come in and get
That's-
in top 4. But I do think they could have gotten better than Maresca. Even if he does the job, I do think they could have gotten better, and I do think they need to be ready for market opportunity. I still think that Andoni Iraola, if he suggests that he will be leaving Bournemouth at any point, Chelsea should be looking at that deal and being a bit ruthless and going, cheers for top
Maybe
4, Enzo.
Arsenal as well.
Why would Arsenal do it?
A lot of people actually suggested that. I'm trolling because there is a new thing that if Iraola is available, maybe we should replace Arteta with Iraola.
Yeah.
But that makes no sense, though. Because
Forget that was a troll. That was just something.
You would only replace Iraola. You'd only replace Arteta with Iraola if you wanted to build a new project, not win, because Iraola hasn't won anything yet.
Yeah,
I hear you, Allah. I hear you, and I know exactly what you say. Listen, people. Rory talks football, but I want to plug something for Rory as well. Rory talks football on Big Up. Lots of watch-alongs for Arsenal as well on Big Up as well. You go and enjoy Rory's contents on Big Up. Big Up is a great platform. I don't stream a lot on Big Up because of the time, and I don't do a lot of watch-along as well. Tom Little, who will be on the top 6, along with David as well on the Football Terrace at 6 p.m. UK time as well. Dan couldn't join us. We'll be here after Chelsea and Copenhagen on Thursday. We'll be here on Friday. And of course, we're going to guys see you Friday. I want to thank everyone that watched us. We are actually 2 subscribers away from the targets. Appreciate you guys. Staffy TV in the description as well. Tom Little in the description as well. Tom Little, you'll see him today and tomorrow on Osam. I will see you guys soon. And we're out of here, people.